Oh my gosh, Super Bowl is over. I got a few notes next on the Michael Welch podcast. Hold on to your seat cheeks.
All my blessings, all my blessings.
I need my blessings every penny. Daily counting every single one, I'm seeing plenty. Level up and watch that beat turn into a Bentley. See I'm stunned, so I'm all I'm thinking.
Man, what a weird Super Bowl. We go to overtime. Chiefs win 25-22, which actually hits the under still, even though we went to overtime, I believe 48 and a half, 47 and a half was right around where the line was there. So 47 our number there, 1.5 going 49ers way. Of course, the Chiefs win there. So underdogs for every single game throughout the entire playoffs there. Patrick Mahomes struggled in the first half, but turns it on in the second half. Really a drive at the end of the first half and then the overtime drive that really put the pieces together for the Chiefs. Those are the two big touchdowns for them there. And some of the drives here, just wild. Didn't expect to see so many fumbles. Not including the ones, 2 turnovers apiece for the teams, but just the turnovers and the fumbles and the miscues were just kind of crazy. And even to get to this point with these two teams, Kansas City supposedly not having receiver options and, the dominant roster that the 49ers had to come up short again. Just very, very difficult. But to have so many players go down, the right guard, Deebo Samuel for a time, Greenlaw to go down with no, just trying to get onto the field, hurt himself there, but no Joe Tooney, the guard for Kansas City, no defensive end Charles Odumi, who hurt himself in the Ravens game, and then Kadarius Toney was inactive for this game as well. Kind of feel bad for him despite the drop issues he had throughout the year, but those guys were out. Of course, before the game, Post Malone performing, Reba McEntire did a good job with the anthem and America the Beautiful. Had all the celebrities, kind of fun to see as part of the pregame stuff going on. Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, of course, got a ton of camera time with Ice Spice. Just an interesting group there. And then we had Jay-Z and his kids and Beyonce and LeBron and Luke Combs and Lady Gaga and Gwen Stefani. Just a whole bunch of celebrities there. Keep an eye on during the game when things are kind of slow. So San Francisco started with the ball. Now, for their first 5 plays are touches for CMC there, Mr. McCaffrey, but he fumbles on his third handoff there, gives it to Kansas City right at the 27. That's the first unforced error of the day, really, is just their star player there putting the ball on the mat there, which is too bad because it was a great start for Kansas City and a great first half overall. The Chiefs there, Derek McKinnon came off injured reserve and was involved early in their first drive, but not a whole lot going on for them as they had a quick 3-and-out. San Francisco came out again. A couple more plays for positive yardage, good chunks as well. It was the 7th play of the game that I counted before they had their first play that did not go for positive yardage as they were ripping off nice chunks to begin the game. Certainly the scripted out plays. Ayuk had a big first down catch. Deebo had his first touch on a handoff that went for negative yardage. That was unfortunate, but that would be something that happened throughout the night. Trent Williams had a number of problems. He was flagged twice on the San Francisco second drive, and false starts were a problem for San Francisco, of course, throughout the night. Timely penalties that hurt both of these teams. 2nd and 27 on the second drive for San Francisco really killed their drive there. KC came out, second drive, quick first with Pachenko. A big Chase Young sack, the young man that they grabbed from Washington in a big trade, had a big play, and that really screwed up the drive for Kansas City and eventually forced a punt. San Francisco, next time out, handed the ball off several times to CMC, Michael Carter Williams. I'm wrong players here. CMC, but McCaffrey several times again, got him going a little bit. Purdy hit a big 3rd and 9 to convert to Connolly. And again, he hit a big pass to McLeod to show a little, aggression early and to pass as well as to mix in that run game and not just play action, but to really throw and get guys open downfield. So he nearly had Ayuk for a touchdown as well. But Ayuk just kind of ran the route short and just sailed over his head. It wasn't really a bad Purdy throw. And there was a shot at Debo as well on the third down, but he was well covered by McDuffie, the safety back there for the Chiefs, who caused all kinds of problems for the 49ers pretty much the entire night there. And finally, our rookie kicker there, Moody, from Michigan, crushed a Super Bowl record 55-yarder to make the game 3-0 at the top of the second. Of course, that wouldn't stand for very long there. Kansas City able to pick up a few modest first downs on their third possession of the game. Again, we had some fumbling problems as Rice converted a first down and then actually put the ball on the mat. But he was able to recover there. And Patrick Mahomes, next play, his only really big throw of the game, a big 52-yard bomb down to the 10-yard line, about the 10-yard line for Nicole Hardman. Obviously not his last big play of the game, but double cover down there, and the defense just kind of lost him. The ball just went high up in the air. Tony Romo on the broadcast, of course, made note of just how high it hung in there and how the defenders didn't really seem to know where the ball was all the time it was in the air. So they get the ball, they're driving inside the 10, and they get a fumble. Isaiah Peko drops the ball inside the 10-yard line there and gives it right back to Kansas City. Already our third fumble at this point, I believe, of the day. Only the second one lost. And it's back again already to the San Francisco 49ers. And this is where we get Travis Kelce yelling at Andy Reid on the sideline, seeming to really surprise him and go after him. We'll see all the memes from that are already coming up. So San Francisco then, fourth possession, Purdy able to roll out for a first, gets a horse collar penalty added onto that. So they get about up to the 30-yard line from about the 10 on one play. It's really his only big run of the entire day. They do end up having to punt after McCaffrey gets kind of bottled up there, and the adjustments are starting to be made by the Chiefs and cause problems there in the middle to prevent him from running up the gut there a little bit. So they do end up punting the ball after the great misfortune by the Chiefs on the offensive side. Kansas City actually fumbles the punt, but does recover it themselves to start right at the 20-yard line. And this is where Dre Greenlaw hurts himself. He's running onto the field, hurts himself, is out for the rest of the game, unfortunately, and that becomes more prevalent as the game goes on and the Chiefs are able to run more towards his side. Travis Kelce is able to find some room towards his side, and it's unfortunate for San Francisco. Mahomes ends up with problems again, pressure in his face, no one open downfield, and he gets hit with a intentional grounding penalty in a sack attempt. So they end up having to punt the ball away, not able to get much going there either. San Francisco gets it the next time around on their drive. They get things going a little bit. They get a trick play going, get the ball out to Juwan Jennings, who was a quarterback in high school. Coming into college, he was actually pretty high ranked at the quarterback position, going into Tennessee, and he was able to throw it back across the field to Mr. McCaffrey, who was able to run it in 21 yards for a touchdown to make it 10-0. A couple key blocks on that play to make it happen, as the Chiefs are pretty well on it, but quick 10-0 for the San Francisco 49ers there. Next time out, Kansas City. Just before half here, about 4 minutes left, and they wanted to put a drive together here. Obviously, they'd get the ball heading into the second half. Pecchio had the first 3 touches, picked up a nice first. Watson picked up another big one before dropping a second play in the red zone. So they got 4 first downs in this drive before half. They had 7 total in the first half. So this is where they really got things going a little bit. They get inside the 10, can't pick up a first at the 5, and Mahomes is sacked on third down trying to make a play. Butler's field goal ultimately makes it 10-3, heading into the Ursher halftime. 2 for 6 in the red zone is what Kansas City ends up on the day. So it's just a tough grind there, and that does not change throughout the entire game. Of course, the big one in overtime. So heading into overtime, they were 1 for 5 in the red zone. So Purdy had started 6 for 6 passing. At the half, he was 10 for 15 for 123 yards. He had that one scramble for 9. Debo had 2 carries for negative yardage, couple catches. McCaffrey had 5 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. 5 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown, 33 yards rushing. So he was actually a better catching the football and converting that way, but still 14 touches almost didn't seem like enough. Ayuk had 1 big catch for 18, 12 first downs total for San Francisco, 31 plays, 189 yards and 6.1 yards per play. Now Mahomes was 11 for 13 for 123 yards. If I'm not mistaken, about 5 of those receptions, 5 of those passing attempts and completions came on that last drive. He had 7 yards rushing. 2 carries for Rice for 5 yards, 4 catches for 120, or 4 catches for 20, as he was involved there early. And then Pachenko, 7 carries for 27, 3 catches for 21, as both running backs on both sides were very active in the plays. Kelsey had 1 target for 1 catch and 1 yard. And they had 157 yards, 5.8 per play, and 5 penalties altogether there. So the yardage, thanks to that last drive, was not too far behind, about 30 yards behind the San Francisco 49ers. So that last drive really made a difference. Now, obviously, coming out of the half, pitch was immediately fumbled on a pitch back play to Pachenko. They did recover it, but it set them back behind the chains again. Kelsey was able to get another ball in there, and it was picked off a couple plays later. So still not great for Kansas City coming right out. The next drive for San Francisco, they get their 3rd false start penalty. More mixed blitzes are in their face. Did a great job on the defensive side for Kansas City. And San Francisco punts the ball all the way down to the 2 for the Chiefs. And it looks like it's going to be a tough go again for them. So this is where the 4th down play comes into the mix. We have Travis Kelce getting about 9 yards in a flat route that he turns upfield, getting more involved in the offense there. Now, Kansas City doesn't challenge this. Obviously, it doesn't come back to hurt them per se. They probably could have challenged the spot. It's not the first time the spot was in question. They do end up with a 4th and 1 that are just not able to pick up that 1 yard on the 3rd down then, which is problematic for continuing that drive. So they have to punt it away again. San Francisco starts then up at their 36. They eventually have to punt as well. Chris Jones, very active, able to blow up a big play. Debo gets hurt as well, hurts his hamstring away from the play. He does come back later. So we get back out to Kansas City. Kelsey grabs the first down of the second half finally, as we get well into the 3rd quarter at this particular point. And Mahomes rushes for back-to-back huge first downs and is able to keep the drive alive, but it eventually comes to a slow death again. San Francisco just prevents them from being able to continue to move the ball. Improvising, right? Travis Kelce getting in the mix again, scrambling by Mahomes, and then Pachenko getting involved in both the run and the pass game, and just mixed results other than that. And Butker hit a big 57-yard field goal to make it 10-6, and that was the new record then for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history, and that's what stood through the rest of the game. Not a lot happened for a couple possessions. We had a San Francisco 3-and-out. McCaffrey, a 0-yard run, a couple completions. Next possession for the Chiefs, 3-and-out. And San Francisco had the critical fumbling the punt. It was actually bounced off the leg of one of the defenders. Not able to recover it for McLeod. Could not get his hands on it. And that just set up an easy situation for the Chiefs. Now, they obviously had problems converting in the red zone, but they were able to punch in this, just terrible, they say momentum matters. And that's what it seemed like here in this possession. The 49ers doing a great job preventing the Chiefs from going up and down the field. And in this particular instance, now that they just set them up in the red zone with the first and goal, I believe it was, just giving up an easy touchdown on the next play to Scantling to make it 13-10 for the Kansas City Chiefs, taking their first lead of the game. Now, San Francisco had done nothing at this point going into the 4th quarter. They lost a guard on the next play, and that caused problems as Purdy started to feel more pressure. 11 QB pressures for Kansas City on the game. Debo did come back, Had a nice 9-yard play. Had a shot at another touchdown. Chris Jones again came crashing down on Purdy, and he overthrew the receiver there. San Francisco picked up a 4th and 3 with Kittle's first catch. I believe his only catch at the 10-yard line as they were driving the field again. And then Jennings made a huge catch, breaks a tackle, falls into the end zone. Extra point is blocked, which is problematic. 16-13, San Francisco. Of course, this allowed the Chiefs to come down and kick a field goal. Kelsey on the 11th possession for Kansas City. 2 big first down catches. But Holmes recovers a fumbled snap again to avoid disaster by Creed Humphrey, the former Oklahoma Sooner, I do believe. 26-yarder to Watson on the next play to set up a red zone trip. And Pachenko punches the ball inside the 5. Again, can't convert it in the red zone, but he kicks a field goal with 6 minutes left. San Francisco then, with time coming down, big 23-yard catch for Jennings. A nice yard for Debo for positive yardage, one of his better plays. 49ers had a big 3rd and 4 at the 2-minute warning there. Spagnuolo had a big blitzed the hell out of Purdy, who threw an incompletion, not able to convert there to keep the drive going. Moody hit a big 53-yarder to make it 19-16 over the 49ers there, and it set up KC with the last possession here. They were able to pick up 4 first downs, another end of game, end of quarter drive type of deal here. Kelsey turns a huge catch upfield for 22 yards to move it down towards the red zone there, down to the 11-yard line with 9 seconds left as they were able to drive the field. Again, critical positions. Mahomes coming up big. That's what really matters, is no matter how well the 49ers played at times, turnovers and penalties hurt both teams, and Mahomes made the critical plays when he really needed to. Mahomes went to Kelsey one more time before kicking the game-tying field goal. Of course, he wasn't able to get the ball. Rice was chirping at him at the sidelines as we went to overtime because he was open in the middle of the field. He had an opportunity to score a game-winning touchdown. Mahomes did not see him. In overtime, Purdy's first pass is tipped and nearly picked off. That would have been a hell of a play. The 49ers would have had to punt on 3rd down. Purdy was getting sacked, but McDuffie, who's made great plays, including one on the all-out blitz, just about all-out blitz, the big blitz play at the end of regulation to prevent San Francisco from continuing their drive. Just a horrible job holding, and allowed the San Francisco 49ers to pick up another first down to continue their drive. They would have had to punt. Kittle did leave the field hurt. I'm not sure if he came back or not. Ayuk did convert a big 3rd and 2 with a nice 11-yard play. Multiple first down pickups for him throughout the game. Big plays when it mattered. McCaffrey again bails Purdy out in the flats. Converts a big 24-yard play upfield. Ultimately, they do have to kick that big field goal. Zuchek actually has to convert a big first down as well. 12 yards on a 3rd and 12. Arguably could have been challenged. Looks like it was bobbed a little bit, and that probably would have changed the game for San Francisco. Nevertheless, another long field goal for Moody is how the drive ultimately ends, stalling out there, and that gives it back to Kansas City, who's able to drive the field there, of course. They do convert a 4th and 1 on their own side of the field, and then a 3rd and 7 after Scantling goes back on first down. They're able to get chunks back, and ultimately it's Mahomes back-to-back big runs, including a play you don't usually see them run, where he's able to keep the ball and go out to the right side of the tackle, exposing himself, but not getting hurt. So multiple first downs picked up by him, scrambling on the ground, and hits Hartman ultimately in the red zone on the goal line for the game-winning touchdown there. So that was it. Rough notes again. If you watched it, but just scribbling in my notebook here. Again, the feeling throughout the entire game was you're not really sure what's going to happen next. I was getting text messages. Is this an exciting game? Is this not an exciting game? Is this a good game? Like what is the feeling? I'm kind of bored, from all different folks. I was entertained for chunks. I was not as entertained for chunks. It is weird to watch a Super Bowl like this where it's so damn messy, but still such a close game because both teams have problems with the false start penalties from the 49ers, especially on Trent Williams, such a veteran, and to have multiple key players go down for the 49ers during the game. Of course, injuries are part of the situation. I like the aggressiveness with Brock Purdy throwing downfield, but I still think you needed more. Christian McCaffrey in there. It just didn't seem like enough. He finished the game with 80 yards rushing and 80 yards passing. Let's see. I figured he would get like 30 touches in this game, which seems like a lot, but that's what I figured they need here for him to be really impactful. Let's see here. 8 and 22. Hey, he was right at that number. How about that? Right on the dot. All right. Debo had 6 touches overall for 41 yards. Ayuk 3 catches for 49. The defense had 3 sacks, 6 tackles for losses, 2 accredited QB hits as Mahomes got out of a lot of pressure. They did a good job keeping him in the pocket initially in the first half, and he started to work his way out of that in the second a little bit, again with the rushing. Purdy finished 23 for 38 for 255, 6.1 per attempt, and a touchdown. And Mahomes was 34 for 46, 333, 7.2, 2-1 touchdown interception, 66 yards rushing. Hope he took the over on that. Pacheco had 59 yards rushing and 33 catching. He finished with a whopping 24 touches. Perhaps he should have been a little bit more involved as well. Rice had 6 for 39 and 2 carries for 5. Kelsey had 9 for 93 after, again, 1 target in the first half. Multiple catches late in the fourth and overtime. Hardman had 3 catches for 57 and a touchdown overall. And of course had the biggest, longest catch in the game and the game-winning touchdown. So he had 2 impactful plays on just 3 catches. And their defense finished with 4 sacks, 6 tackles for losses, and 11 accredited quarterback hits. That's 5 times more than San Francisco. So after the first quarter, it sure felt like the 49ers had a great advantage on the offensive and defensive side of the football, but the game was still close. So if you're Kansas City, you had to feel like pretty comfortable with where you were at, that you still were in a close game. Again, fumbles in every quarter from the beginning. You had to know San Francisco was still having problems getting the snap off, turning the ball over themselves. By halftime, you still felt pretty good if you were Kansas City, knowing that you got the ball back to start the second half, and you would now put a drive together on San Francisco. And if you were the Niners, again, I think you still had to feel reasonably good that you were putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and that you were holding Pacheco mostly in check, and that you were holding Travis Kelsey to only 1 target, and you were leading the football game, but not too comfortable as you were only up a touchdown. Now, the Chiefs obviously came out in the second half and immediately started screwing around again, self-inflicted wounds, but San Francisco continued to not capitalize off that. So it started to feel like a Kansas City Chief would slowly start to creep back into the game. Like, you can't stop Mahomes from finding open space to move around the pocket, to change his launch point, to find guys open downfield, regardless of who it was, and that'd start to cause problems for San Francisco, right? Or that the fumbles wouldn't continue, or if they did, then it's either team's ball game. And actually, that's exactly what happened, right? The San Francisco fumble or, foot bounce off the punt, and then the bobble by Jennings that set up Kansas City. Just an unforced baseball error, just an accident. And that was terrible for San Francisco, obviously. Great for Kansas City, but just deflating for the Niners, who'd done a good job up to that point. And it was still a back and forth game moving forward for the most part. Still anyone's game to take, even until the fourth quarter, even into the overtime period. And when you give Patrick Mahomes the ball last, that certainly had to be, hard on your stomach, clenched up. I was for the back half of the fourth quarter into overtime, knowing with all the fumbles, lost or regained possession, that anything could happen. Mahomes had 1 bad interception. And of course, I think he had, at one point it was 14 drives without a touchdown for Patrick Mahomes, the longest in his career. I think that went all the way to 16. And that's just such a rarity. Obviously, the bad possessions in the red zone, and it's just not expected from this team. And then San Francisco just dying in a corner in the second half for the most part. So just a very odd game, a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes things feel like they weren't earned, but it went both ways. Whether it was injuries, balance of the ball. Was it entertaining football? I certainly think it was for the last fourth quarter and overtime, and for good chunks of play when teams weren't turning it over. But that's problematic. To put a nice drive together, to have nice play looks, whether on offense or have a nice defensive stand and have a fumble, completely switch the game. I mean, that's what it is. But it also really changes how you view the game. But it went both ways in this. So Kansas City most certainly earned it. And just a tough beat for San Francisco. I believe Mahomes is MVP. I'm recording it as they're doing the trophy presentation. That's not quite as important to me to watch. And I'll listen to more and gather more information post-game tomorrow anyways. So, but yeah, it just felt like a weird Super Bowl. Nothing was quite as expected. It was a defensive battle. It was not a clean game. We had injuries taking place on the field. We had some key players that had no impact for quite a while, or their impact was really minimized, and key drives and plays had injuries or weird false starts or scantly going backwards or just weird bad plays killing good, whether it was a defensive play or an offensive play. Great stand by Kansas City on San Francisco in the second half there on Purdy in the group, or Kansas City against San Francisco. But then McDuffie, the safety who's played good all game, just a holding penalty downfield, not necessary, screwing up what would have been a San Francisco punt, but instead the drive goes on. McDuffie didn't have to do that. So just a weird Super Bowl, it felt like overall. Just a little sloppy-ish. Usher at halftime, I liked a lot. It wasn't quite as showy, I don't think. The rollerblade performance section was pretty awesome. And the blue was great. Him walking the field was fine. His outfit was all right. His dancing was good. Singing and dancing is incredibly difficult and impressive. However, that means he's not necessarily singing all of the words. And I actually, in watching a lot of his performances and getting my concert tickets to see him later in this year, I'm very excited. He usually does sing a lot of the words, it seems like. He knows when to take breaks for breathing in his dancing performance to get a lot of the vocals out. So I think it was just for the Super Bowl. Perhaps it was the extended performance, 13 straight minutes or whatever it is, that he was perhaps a little winded, or maybe it said he's getting up there a little bit in age. I'm not sure what it is. But, asking the audience to kind of sing along kind of kills it a little bit. I don't like that piece of it. But his vocals were still great. The guests he brought were still good. Alicia Keys, of course, in the red piano. It looked like they were having fun together. Her playing guitar, no vocals from her there. No vocals from her while her was playing guitar. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that was like something that was cut short. Jermaine Dupri was out there hyping the crowd up. It's just unfortunate that he raps too, but at least he was there. He didn't really perform either. We did get, of course, Ludacris and Little John. We did get Justin Bieber, which was speculated, but we got several people in there. I just wish we could have got more exciting stage, but I guess it's all dancing, the dancing aesthetic with Usher, which was fine. The rollerblading performance was pretty awesome, but it's some of the crazy stuff we've seen in post Super Bowls. I guess I just thought there'd be a little bit more pizzazz, just a little bit more. But overall, he's got so many platinum hits. He just ran through just a gauntlet. I counted, Caught Up is what he started with. You Don't Have to Call. Superstar, very briefly. Love in This Club. He could have brought Jeezy out. Alicia Keys, of course, and that song was If I Ain't Got You. My Boo. Confessions, Nice and Slow, Burn, You Got It Bad. What else? Just oh my God, Will.i.am. He brought out Will.i.am, of course. Turned Down for What? And yeah, just a plethora of stuff. So I'm excited to see him live. in a set where he can take a little bit more breathing time. In September, in Detroit, I thought he had a pretty good halftime show. I give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. And look forward to listening to his new album still. I'll talk that coming up here once I get a good listen. And Vultures with Kanye and Ty Dolla. Interesting project there. And I hope you like the podcast with Brother Elliott. He'll be up again in March when we talk more college basketball in the bracket. I've got my top quarterback list coming soon as well. Just where I think the rankings should be right now heading into next season. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All my blessings, all my blessings.
I need my blessings every penny. Daily counting every single one, I'm seeing plenty. Level up and watch that beat turn into a Bentley. See, I'm stunned, so I'm all I'm thinking, please don't tell me.